I always wonder if you have to watch the whole thing in order to make it. And then when I realize you probably do, I feel like shit for you. I don't know how you sit through them, honestly, especially the Aaron ones. They're just awful. So I'm doing this on my iPhone. Don't know how well it works. And little draw thing. Leo Gunn. There's another room. Most of the time I do. I listen while I'm working and doing other shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. It seems like a task to be fucking looking at this shit all day long and having to listen to these assholes. So, only news I got for the night is I heard Chad called the Lakewood Funny Farm trying to get John's show canceled last week, and that didn't happen. And not only did that not happen, they were happy with his performance. Um, they didn't have a reflection on his comedy. It was more, he filled the room, there was no trouble, and it was an audience of spenders, which is pretty much all a comedy club could ask for. And I have a feeling that no matter how many beers he's drinking, as long as the folks are paying for him, that's a good night for him at the club. So he'll be back. Yeah, Shuley can get work, but Shuley doesn't want to go on the road. He's got kids. Shuley does do that comedy club in Huntsville. Me, 143. It makes me chuckle to think that John actually gets work and Shuley can't. No, but like I said, Shuley does get work, and he could probably work more if he wanted it, but he doesn't want to travel at all. He likes to stay in his basement. Stalin 19. Did you see Joey's new merch? I saw a new merch that said Gooner PDF. I assumed that that was somebody that made it up for him. Am I incorrect? Leo Gunn. If that's Leo Gunn's real name. Shmuel hiding from Cookie. No, Cookie's up north. And I'm down here at the Jersey Shore till tomorrow morning. And I didn't want to do a stream. It's hard to see with this little setup, but my face is all fucked up. And so it looks like shit. So this seemed to be the way to get it over with. Can someone get Joe some ice cream? Very cute. Very cute. Ice cream and an Ambien. Actually, they mix it in, so I don't know that I'm having it. That's how I get my meds at night. And Jill comes over and tells me what a wonderful president I am, even though I'm not president anymore. But it's not a bad gig if you can get it. Me 143. I've got a rosacea breakout on my nose. Yeah, rosacea sucks. I had all these precancerous lesions that they discovered, something called actinic keratosis. Um, I guess these keratosi are precancerous lesions, and they're like the bumps and shit, and they come off. And then rosacea is considered cosmetic, so that I'd have to actually pay for. So I don't know whether it's worth doing. But yeah, my nose is getting bright red. No gin blossoms, but just red. The curse of the pale, genetically northern Europer. Aside from rosacea, we're very susceptible to other, uh, what do they call those? Uh, Immunity diseases? Can't think of the word, but immunity diseases. So I've also got celiac, which means I can't eat gluten. So my life is just one giant fucking bore. No bread, no pasta, except for that knockoff no gluten stuff. And no matter what they tell you, it tastes like shit. I saw Leo Gunn. Anyone catch Permaseal's super chat or TSN earlier? I heard what I saw was that he sent $49.99 to TSN with a comment about MLC, a negative comment. But then I heard he went back and gave MLC $100 after. So God only knows. Ray has asked me, Leo Gunn, Push Mule's only joy in life now is seeing Ray DeVito live. Um, I got a call from Ray earlier for me to come to his show in New York tomorrow night, but I think he's looking for protection. And seriously, you're looking for the wrong man if you're asking me. So that's it. Anyway, I'm doing this from my phone. I just wanted to see if it would work and if I could hide my face. So I had the treatment last Wednesday, and what's happening now is it's all scaly and shit. So it's like dry skin falling onto my clothes, like I'm some old dandruff guy. If there were other people from the DV going, I would probably go, but I don't think I'm just going to go just to see Ray. Somebody is threatening Ray, as always, and they never show up at his shows. But he wants me to go there and keep an eye out. Um, so probably not. I think it's his, what, regular Tuesday night at the stand, and I got to believe the stand can handle any problems that are created. Would be cool if Brennan went though. Actually, that'd be the fucking best. Mud Sharks unite. Yeah, I was hearing earlier that the Mud Shark tried to get John's gigs canceled in Ohio. That he was calling the club, telling him that John was going to be bringing nothing with problems, and the Dabbleverse people were going to be causing trouble. But apparently, the club was happy. They didn't rate his comedy or his performance, but there was no trouble, and the audience were big spenders. I guess if you're buying your own beers and you're buying him beers, the club probably does pretty well. And I heard their tacos were awesome. If any of you guys are going to Ray's show tomorrow night, I'll go. But I really don't want to go alone, and it's kind of a pain in the ass for me. So if it were more than just Ray, I'd probably go. Is Melton still on? Just wondering about that. Jesus, 6 viewers. I feel like I'm Top Myers, but then 6 viewers, Top Myers could claim victory. Leo, I know you're out of Ray's biz, and you're also out of Gino's biz. Whose biz are you into? You still a KB boy? I was looking at some numbers. KBs are way down. I um I sent Crumb a link. I honest to God don't know how it fucking works on the phone, so I don't know whether I'll see him or not on here. Yeah, no, who says this? Mudshot Unite, Ray involves himself in everyone's beefs. Ray wasn't involved in this one. This was apparently Chad knew the club where John was performing and was calling the owner Dan, saying that John's fans cause problems and John causes problems and he ought to cancel it. In any event, they let it go and they were happy with it. They want him back. And from what I understand, um, Johnny Boy will be at the Stress Factory on May 2nd. And usually when they go to the Stress Factory, a guy like that, he'll probably come over here to Uncle Vinny's. If he goes to Uncle Vinny's, that's a definite. I'll go see him. Maybe I'll drag Deeds along with me. They're buddies, so Deeds will trust me. Oh, there he is. How do I bring him in? Crumb, you're on stage. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Cool.
Can you hear?
This is
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you great. This is a short
Okay.
stream from my front porch.
Oh, nice.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I was
call the
surprised.
episode.
I saw the link and I was like, well, I'll jump on with Shmuel.
Yeah, I thought the episode was gonna be porch talk, but I just left it the way it usually is. I didn't think I was gonna do it. I figured out a way I could do this without my face being
There you
too
go.
obvious.
Yeah, I can't really see you, but that's good. That's what you want.
I think that's me. Is that
No,
my face? My
I can see
camera's
you
looking.
in. I can see
Yeah,
you in
no, no,
there.
no. My camera's
But
looking the right way at least.
yeah, yeah.
I did this
You're,
the first time I did a porch podcast. I doxed myself. I had my house number up in the screen.
mm. Did you get any blowback from that, or was it was just
No, everything was fine,
that's good.
and it was on Dixon's show, and I kind of realized it in the middle. So,
Now you're muted.
like,
Oh, there you
let's
go.
see what we got here. Hold on a second. Settings, audio, iPhone mic.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, that's much better, right?
Um, yeah, you were saying you had some kind of like facial. Well, not that doesn't sound right. Facial, probably not the right word.
Yeah, I had a photodynamic therapy where I had this stuff called actinic keratosis, and it looks like acne, but they're precancerous lesions.
Mm-hmm.
So they put you on a cream that sits for a few hours, making you susceptible to certain um, rays of light, and then you sit in front of a machine that burns them. And what happens is it kills the keratosis, but it also burns the skin around it. So I've got a bunch of places where my face is like peeling, and as I talk, it's dripping on my shirt, like I'm an
Flaky.
old man with bad dandruff, you know.
Yeah,
So, and
I feel you, dude. I haven't had that procedure, but I've had some shit like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've had a
You,
few taken off my face. This was the first full face thing, and it's it's interesting because it blisters up. Now I just it's like almost a week later, so it's peeling and stuff. But I also look like these keratosis things are real tiny and they're all over. So I look like I accidentally walked in front of a dartboard with an army of dart players throwing. So
damn.
I
Have you
know
had like other like real skin cancers where they you're susceptible to it, so they did that for you?
I had them. I've only had to have one cutout, and the other ones they've been able to freeze with nitrous.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, this go around, there were just too many of them to do that. So this is the recommended therapy. And it was my second time in 2 months. It was kind of more brutal than the first one because they
Damn.
burn down layers and then they go after more. Um, but I'm not complaining. Better to get it done now than to wait 5 years when we lose the word pre on the old cancerous thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they have to dig into your fucking skin a couple layers deep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a bunch of them, it's like they can either turn cancerous or they can turn into like these scaly messes that they can't get anything off. And yeah, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's where
No,
we are.
I've had two things on my face taken off skin cancer. One was like it was Mohs surgery. I don't know if you ever heard of that, where they just keep cutting until they get the cancer out.
Right.
I've had a couple other like pre-cancerous things that cut off me. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, that shit sucks. And
Trying.
I'm young. I'm not as old as you, and I've had it. So I can't
Yeah.
wait till I'm your age.
It's what do you call it? It's just part of being super white. And when I was a
Yeah.
kid, um, we didn't have sunscreen. We had suntan lotion,
Mm-hmm.
which was
Oil.
mostly oil. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you baked.
They actually told me mine is more just bad genetics, like genetically. They wanted me to join a study because I guess there's certain types of skin cancers and white Irish dudes that it's just from your genes.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'm good with that. I don't want to join your study.
Well, these Northern European genes, we come from places that have sun maybe 30 days a year.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
I live in Florida, so not
right.
the best.
And I grew up on Rockaway Beach, Queens,
Mm.
which is uh, what actually triggered me into the Mersh stuff. Because Mersh was talking about Rockaway and how it was run and all this, like it was this panacea of mobs and nothing like I remembered. And I went back and did a little tracing, and nobody knows who the guy is.
He might have
So
been embellishing, maybe.
I would say a wee bit, a
Yeah.
wee bit. And but I think a bunch of his stuff is either embellishment or he's co-opted other people's stories.
Uh, you heard a story, or it was one of his friends, or that makes sense.
Right, and he said he worked in strip clubs, which I know that part's actually true. So I'm going to assume that a bunch of the things that happened, excuse me, in the strip club were things that probably didn't happen to him, but did happen. And then he was able to embellish them a little bit to make them sound more interesting.
And he's got to fill a lot of time on the radio or
Hmm.
the internet. Yeah.
Well, he was telling a story last week how he was in Scared Straight, if you remember the old TV series.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I don't want to say that I did a thorough check, but I did a quick check, and I don't think I think he's making it up because there's no video of it, there's no show of it, there's nothing at that particular time. Um, so I just it's like look, a lot of older guys who haven't become successful in real careers, they want to be tough guys. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I think that's what he was going for.
Did he say he was like on the show that were scared straight, or did he just do that program where they brought him to the prisons?
He, the implication was is that he was on the show that did it, but
Uh,
I don't
yeah,
know that they do. I don't know that they didn't do it outside the show. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I don't remember, but I know the show. I remember seeing that kind of shit. Yeah,
Right, but I don't think they had like. I mean, they had boot camps and shit, but the other part of it is he's from New York, and New York never really was into the boot camps and stuff. So, um, and the scared straight stuff, that was mostly in Jersey. That was like Trenton, and Newark. So, I don't know. I don't want to say the guy's not telling the truth, but um, I don't think the guy's telling the truth.
I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it.
I,
That's funny.
it's funny because when I heard about him, and then I guess it was Pat said to me, "Oh, he was Bobo's driver," and then I asked around to people that knew O&A at the time and guys that worked there and stuff, and that was they all said the same thing that he was Bobo's driver, and I guess he would drive Bobo to like um, Helium in Buffalo, and he would get a set out of that. But his real position was to get Bobo there. Bobo was the draw.
Yeah, I remember hearing he was Bobo's driver, and I thought it was related to O&A or something. And like
Exactly.
he was trying to get on whatever Bobo's heat was. He was trying to clamor onto it, which is kind
Right.
of crazy.
And but he was the guy that drove Bobo around. So that
Dude,
that
I
was
did a during COVID. I did a Zoom with Bobo one time. He's friends with one of my internet friends, and she was like, "Do you want to hang out with Bobo?" And I was like, "Sure." So it was like me, Bobo, and two other people who were just shooting the shit with him for like 2 hours. He's an interesting character.
he's best buds with Stevie Lou. They go to the movies and hang out all the time.
Yeah,
So
he
um,
was exactly like he was on the radio, like this. It was kind of interesting. He
yeah,
just
he's
wanted to
not
talk about the Mets and NASCAR. That's all he wanted to
right.
talk about.
Uh, yeah, he and the Rangers. He's not. He doesn't really. He's a pretty simple cat, and
Super nice
he's
guy.
yeah, he's got like 4 or 5 things he's interested in, and that's it.
Yep. I never really enjoyed when the shows will use a person like him for like content. I don't know. It always kind of bothered me.
So I don't think they did. I thought they treated him pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
and there were some funny bits where, like if they talked about girls, he'd get a hard on, and the minute they'd stop talking,
Yeah.
um,
The
it would go
Patrice.
flaccid with
Yeah.
Patrice. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought that stuff was pretty funny.
Yeah,
And they
it
did,
is funny. I laughed at it for sure, but I always just felt dirty. A little bit dirty.
yeah, but his mom was also involved in it. Like his mom had to kind of approve the stuff that he was doing,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
so she protected him from getting. He didn't
You
get
missed
into anything too terribly serious.
No. No, no, no. It was all good natured in the end, but I don't know, like even like Howard, like the Whack Pack, those type of people, or even when Gino would have Frankie on. I don't know. I just feel like it's not. Maybe I'm
It's
just being
like
a fucking wet
yeah,
blanket, but no.
poking the retard. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I what do you call it? Yeah, that's my current feeling about Michael Ray Bowers. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
is that I feel like he's got mental problems, and so um, it's like we're picking on a guy that's got mental problems. So it's not really. It's not like a John or a Chad, where
Yeah.
they're capable of actually functioning in normal life, and they're just being stupid. This feels like these guys can't. And the other thing comes up too, like with Stern with um, Artie Lang, right? Like, was he enabling Artie? Like, Stern's best moments were when Artie was getting fucked up or couldn't control himself.
Yeah. That's true. But
And
but
Stern,
already that I don't know. It's a little different, but it is very similar. Already was just a junkie. So
No, I know, but if you've got a junkie and you got a junkie that is that talented, do you send them to rehab? Do you not?
yeah,
You know, so
I wonder. I'm sure they had to have offered it or talked about it behind the scenes with him at some point. You would think, right? Or maybe
you would
not.
think, but I don't think so. You know, I was on UZ's show yesterday, and they had Steve Grillo on,
Yeah, I was
and
watching. Yeah,
Grillo, I didn't get a lot in. You know, Grillo's a talker. I didn't get a lot in. I didn't really get any of the answers that I wanted, but questions that I wanted. But
yeah. He's a talker. Yeah.
he worked for Stern for 6 or 7 years, unpaid.
Damn.
And you know, I asked him like, how does that happen? He was just blaming Tom Chiasano, and I was like, but Howard was the head of that organization, and Howard said he knew everything that was going on, except that Grillo wasn't getting paid, and that Grillo was a college intern. I mean, they knew how it worked. They let him come back for 6 years, right?
That's crazy. He didn't get paid.
Didn't get paid.
why would? Why did he? I guess. I mean, yeah. You keep going because you're on Howard Stern and they're not paying you. Whatever. You're hoping maybe they will pay you, but just for 6 years to keep going back and not being paid. Did he have
Not
another
being paid.
job on
Yeah,
the side or what?
he has also, you know, he worked at a pizza place. I don't know what he was doing during that, but um, and I'm sure somebody was throwing him money here and there, but it wasn't like he had a regular salary.
Yeah. No, I get that to be just involved with it, but
And
I didn't really watch Stern, so I don't know what he did on that show.
I knew very little I was funny with when I was on Husey yesterday. I really thought, oh, I know a lot about Stern, but I really didn't.
Oh
Um,
yeah. No.
because I realized that I left Stern pretty early on when it became like, um, you know, when he had these interns that were working for nothing, and then it just became picking on people. Um, you know, I don't know. I didn't. I guess as I got older, I thought there should be more responsibility or something.
Yeah.
But
I only watched Stern on the E show back in the '90s when I was in high school because they didn't. It wasn't on the radio. If it was, I didn't listen to it, so I didn't really
yeah,
know of him until, Private Parts, and then it was on the E show. That's all I knew of Stern.
I watched them. You know, I they were talking about when did Stern jump the sharks, blah blah blah. Um, I went to see Private Parts in the theater, and it just wasn't very good. I don't know how else to put it.
I
It
mean,
was fun.
I like the movie now. I've watched it a few times.
It was
It's a decent
back
movie.
then. It was fun if you were a listener,
Yeah.
but I really thought that Stern thought that that was the movie that was going to break him into the mainstream, and it didn't. And it opened to low numbers, and it just died week after week. Like um, it was out of
He's
the
not a good
theaters very
actor.
quickly. No,
He's not a
not at
good
all.
actor either. Like,
And he wouldn't let anybody play that role.
yeah. I mean, for a biopic, it was good. That's what I took it as.
I
Just a
did
movie.
laugh. I was looking
Yeah.
at John's billboard from this past weekend, and he's got the Howard Stern Show, the Tonight Show, and Private Parts listed on the billboard. And what's hilarious about it is the only role he had in Private Parts was after the movie ended, and
Yeah.
it was when they were running the credits. But
It's the credit scenes. He's standing in the street with he's asking people questions and shit. Yeah.
my only breaking news of the day is I was informed about an hour ago that a certain comedian who lives in Tampa had been trying last week to call the I'm going to say Lakewood, but it's not Lakewood. It was Lake whatever, and try to get John's show canceled. Made several calls.
Oh no shit.
Mm-hmm. That they were just inviting trouble. Um, that wherever John goes, he brings trouble with him, and that the WATP crowd were planning to ambush him, and it
And
wasn't going to look good for the club.
this was
And
a coming from a comedian in Tampa.
Hmm.
Wow, that's crazy.
Who may
That
recently
is
have
breaking
lost his
news, dude.
who may recently have lost his Patreon accounts. Um, and
I wonder who that is.
the the actual result was the club was very happy with John. Um, they filled the room, and the audience members were spenders. They bought a lot of drinks, and they bought a lot of food.
Wow.
And um, like even John, if John drinks like a fish, that's great, um, as long as people are buying it for him.
Yeah,
That they're
and
not
he's
giving it to
drinking with the
John for free.
patrons. Yeah.
Yep, and a good time was had by all, and they're going to ask him back.
Wow. Oh, you're plugged in with the
So
local scene. That's right.
that was a failure. I am miles and miles away. It's just that I have Cleveland connections. I have
Yeah, yeah.
family who lives there, and
You're
so they were
you're
the ones that hooked
connected
me up. Yeah,
in the tri-state area, we should say. Yes.
yeah, and particularly with comedians. And when it comes to John, um, there are an inordinate number of people who are interested in John and fascinated by John, but don't want anybody to know that they're interested and or fascinated.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure
So
there's a
I
bunch of sneaky fans. I like to call them sneaky fans.
so I get those from comedians, and then I have a guy that um, I was in a 12-step program up here within New Jersey, and during COVID and whatnot, he fucked off and moved to Florida, to Cape Coral, started drinking again, and he occasionally drinks with John
Oh no
and
shit.
will tell me John stories. Yeah.
What a
So,
small world, really. You know.
yeah. And he's John's typical alcoholic. Um,
Oh yeah.
he gets drunk, and uh, one day he could be all about being proud, the proud Democrat, the proud this. And then the next day he can be proud talking about his kids. And then you meet him a third time, and he's talking about how his life is fucked up and his kids don't talk to him, and he does everything for them, and they don't pay attention to him, and they won't call him back. That shit.
Mm. Up and down, left and right. He's all over the place.
Yep. And my favorite story was the thermostat. He kept cranking up the AC in the house, and what do you call it? And he kept forgetting the password for the security system and for the thermostat. And I guess at some point they just told him to leave the the security system off because they were tired of getting phone calls at 3 and 4 in the morning, and the electric bill at the house was so high that the brother changed the password on the thermostat and kept being unavailable when John wanted to talk about it.
What the fuck?
So, and it made sense because there were a bunch of shows where he was like sweating like a pig, right? And the AC wasn't on. And John would say, "Oh, the switch is broken or whatever." It wasn't that. He just didn't know. He didn't have the 4-digit code to change it. And then he would fuck it up enough that it would
Wait,
have
hold
to be
on one
reset.
second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't hear you.
It's probably me. I think my headset is dying.
All right.
I really
I think
just
I'm
came
good
on to
now.
see if this was possible. So that's it. And then I figured the news about
Yep.
our friend calling the other club. I kind of wanted to get it out there
Dude,
before the rest of the world does.
that's hilarious. I don't think anyone else would know that. Although I was on BYB tonight and he put on Shuli was talking about it and they had reports that it was a great show, sold out, all that. And Shuli was trying to, play it off as, which probably is partly true, is that people are just there to see comedy, not really there to see John.
No, according to this guy, they were there to see John.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
most of the people that went, it's not like when he did the Tampa Black Box and other stuff, and nobody knew who the fuck he was.
Right.
That they were there to see John, and reports. I don't know how true this is, but that the two comedians that opened for John were killers. They did great jobs. So they made John. Everybody was laughing and ready to laugh, and so by
That's
the
good.
time John, the audience was primed. It's like the old Kevin Brennan days warming up the um, audience for that TV show with Michael J. Fox, Spin
Yeah.
City.
Spin City. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
so
are I'm not surprised at though, because a lot of shows I've been to, the sometimes the openers are better than the headliner.
right,
You probably
right. I
experienced that.
I've experienced the same. It's not normally that. Normally the other
No,
ones suck, but
I'll,
you
dude,
know,
I'll even say it. I saw Dave Chappelle and Donnell Rawlings was one of the openers. She had two. I can't remember the girl. It was some skinny little white girl, and she was fucking hilarious. And then Donnell Rawlings was the middle, and he was fucking one of the best shows I've seen was him. You know, like he
mhm.
fucking killed it. I mean, Chappelle is Chappelle. He did great, obviously, but I would go see Donnell Rawlings just from that. If he was playing, I would go and see him. He was good.
Right. Do you do you remember the story? I don't know where I am. I can't see myself as camera. But do you remember the story of the girl who got the beer thrown at her at the bar? She's a comedian,
Yes, yes, I do. I
right?
don't know her name, but
So
I know what you're talking about.
so she's like a regular opener at Uncle Vinny's, and I saw her after that show, and um, she's okay, but she's not really good. Like it's like you would expect. It's the opener that you would expect. So she got all that heat off of having the beer thrown at her. Um, and like Chrissy Mares, a number of Chrissy Mares stunts was never able to capitalize on it.
Yeah,
But
but
the
Chrissy's
first
not
time,
good,
okay,
is she?
uh,
Not my.
my opinion, yeah, my opinion, no. Um, but I could see how people like her. I think she would have a definite appeal to women,
Yeah.
you know, to
Yep.
certain women. But
Yep. Right
I
wing.
was Yeah, I was there one time at Uncle Vinny's, and the opener was like, all he was talking about was his sobriety and how we were supposed to be proud of him for having been sober and his journey. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't need this. Because it wasn't really humorous, and it might have been in an AA room, but it certainly wasn't at a comedy club. Um, but Berg was the headliner, and uh, Berg turned the room around. So it was amazing. So you kind of forget about the guy
Yeah.
until like, um, please don't make me do this again. I think Jimmy Norton's here next weekend, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to go see him.
I've seen Jimmy a few times. He's always funny.
He is funny, yeah.
I haven't seen him in years. I saw him when O&A were still around, so I guess like 2015 ish.
Wow.
And he was doing like the same. He was doing. It was funny to watch, like, see his live act because he was. You could after watching this or listening to the show so much, you could hear him pretty much working out bits on the show and then doing them on stage. That was kind of
Right.
interesting to see. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
It's always to me. That's this club I always think of. It's a BYOB, and so I always feel like it's a club they work stuff out at, and it's fun because you get to see them working this stuff out, and then like
I
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on, I lost sound. The fuck? Hold on 1 second, Schmiel. I can't hear you. Give me a second.
How's that? Is that any better? Oh, I'm all alone. Kahuna, can you hear me, man? Can you hear me? Somebody put a one or something in the chat if you can hear me. Otherwise, I can just end this thing. I hear you. Cool. Yeah, so I got a mention on Tom Myers' show today. That was wild. Leo Gunn, send Dave Sauer the link. Dave is on a podcasting sabbatical for a couple of weeks. Probably back next week. Hopefully Thursday, actually. So we'll see. I don't have a problem. I can send him a link. It doesn't really matter, but I don't think he's going to join us. I'd sent him a text earlier, and hold on. Oops. I see Crumb. Hold on. Guests. Crumb. Why am I can't add you to the stage? Crumb, can you hear me? Or are you on stage? I don't know why you're not on stage. Hold on. Participants. Crumb. Authenticated by YouTube. So I can see you down there. Uh, Crumb, I'm just going to send you another link. I don't know why that's not working. We'll see if that does. Let's do Dave Sarah while we're in the program here. And Rochi, he deserves a link. Not that he's ever on. The hell is Dave? Oh, there he is. Yeah, so this is a very unofficial stream here, fellas. Um, go. Crumb, you should be back up.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, no, that was my bad. I somehow the sound on my end dropped out.
Yeah, shit happens. Don't worry about it. This is a test
Right.
for us. So, no big deal. Um, and I'm hearing over you guys over my phone speaker. So
Okay.
that's it. Tuna, good to see you too, Kahuna. Kahuna's here. Um, Frank says send Columbia University and free speech the link. Yes. And Leo, yes, as I said earlier, Dave is on sabbatical. And Dave, Leo, I want to say that you're the first person that sent me the word sabbatical spelled correctly today. I've gotten it with a lot of SEs, SEB. Kahuna, you still hooking up with Joey C there or whatnot? I saw a video the other night with Kahuna on Joey C, and I didn't know whether it was an old one, Joey C or if it was a current Joey C. Let me just see something. Man, this does not make it easy to send. I'm on the iPhone. It
Oh
doesn't really
yeah,
make it. It doesn't really make it easy to send. It doesn't
like
really make it easy to send links out. Um, let's just see some invite guests.
I was just on BYB with Kahuna.
Oh, were you? How's
Yeah,
that?
that was good. We had a good time.
That is cool. That is cool. The complaint that I get about you and I is that we're both like. Somebody put it up. Somebody was like, it's like two smooth jazz DJs on the
Yeah,
same thing, and they need. They need.
they
Dave and
need
I
some
like to
some
yell at each
energy.
other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Dave's got
Dave.
more energy. Yeah,
And I yell at him and he yells at me. I was all, it's funny, man. I was all pissed off today at something, and I really wish that I had been on stream because you would have gotten to see old Shmuley in action. So it turns out I got a client. Um, there he is, the big Kahuna. Kahuna, I am DMing you a link. Um, So I got a client that owes me money, right? And has owed me money for quite a bit, $1,247, as a matter of fact. And I can't come to your office. I can't do this. So I sent him a deposit slip and told him to go and make the deposit. And they would not let him make the deposit without providing positive ID as to who he
yeah,
was.
yeah,
And he didn't have a driver's license with him. And I'm like, it's a fucking check, you know? But they still wouldn't let him do it.
yeah.
And
That's weird though. Most banks, it's like over a certain amount, like thousands.
right,
You need
right,
a
right. This was ridiculous. And they told him that it didn't matter whether it was $100 or $1,200. They had to be listed as either a conductor of business on the policy or not. And oh, excuse me, my assistant
oh.
goes to make deposits for me all the time, and about 10% of the time they ask her for her driver's license. And
Is she on the account though? Because if it's a
no.
business account, oh, okay,
She's not
yeah,
on the account. And personal accounts, I also learned personal accounts, no one but the account signer is allowed to make deposits. I think it's because I use TD Bank and they just got fined like 3.5 billion
oh.
for not paying attention to who was putting money in the account. Um,
Why would it
or
matter who's putting
do
money in your account though? You
you,
would think
I don't,
it's
it's my
taken out.
account, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I look, I don't know either. Um, and experience tells me it just depends upon which branch you go to. But it's like I don't usually have to go to branches that often. I usually just do like I get checks. I usually just deposit them through the mobile app.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so no, Kahuna. I knew that you were fired. Um, but is it the mole who's been playing Joey C stuff? And I saw one the other day and it said live, and it was Kahuna and Joey. And I thought, oh, Kahuna's back. And then I realized, I listening to it for a few minutes, it sounded like it might have been an old repeat. I don't know who the mole is or what they're doing. I know they did the Catalana network just to fuck with Joey. So I I don't know who it was or what it was, and I wasn't really going to figure it out.
Yeah. There's so many people fucking with Joey. It's hilarious.
Hey man, but Joey is a Johnish character. If people didn't fuck with him, he'd have no audience.
True,
I
true.
mean, Joey alone. There's nothing interesting about Joey alone. Um, uh, it's when people troll him that makes him funny. Leo Gunn
Yeah,
asks,
true.
"Isn't the mole Stephen Bravo?" And yeah, it is, but I don't know who Stephen Bravo is. And but what it was I saw a tweet from Stephen Bravo about the mole with the Joey C. I clicked on the link and it was Joey and Kahuna, um, and I couldn't really quite figure out. There was a chat, but it the chat may have been from like today, but the show was actually 6 or 8 months old. So I don't know
Yeah,
if I.
I got confused by the Catalano network too because I thought that was Joey. I was like, wait, why would Joey put this out? Then I realized it's the mole.
There he is. Hold on. Let's see how if we can do this. Add to stage. Welcome, Kahuna.
Can you hear me?
There he
I
is.
can. You sound great.
Yeah, you took off so fast, Crumb. I was gonna tell you it was nice meeting you finally.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, man. Shmuel sent me the link. That's why I dropped out.
Oh, yeah, I see you on so many shows. I've never run across you though
Yeah.
on stream.
Same with
I'm
you.
doing I'm
I've
doing
seen
this
you all over.
on my iPhone, so it's like it's the first time I've done it, and yeah.
Call this
So
one Shmuel After Dark.
did you guys? Yeah, it's a porch talk. Did you guys? I just walked out to my front porch to smoke a cigar, and I was like, fuck it, let me see how this thing works streaming. I cannot um, live stream directly to YouTube on my phone. Like if I go click create, it will only bring up pictures on my phone. So I don't know if it's a setting that I have or if it's a problem with the app.
Hmm.
Um, but
I just got enough subscribers to be able to live stream. I've never done it, so
well, it's fun. I, I enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy. I look.
oh shit, I went live.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. 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 Sorry. When you come in here, you're live.
No, he meant on
So.
No, I
his
went live
phone.
on my own channel.
Oh. Well, you're welcome to. Mine is set up so that you can do that as well. You can go on to both. And apparently, the only people that don't want you to do that are the ones who collect super chats because they don't want you in my stream
Hmm.
chatting,
Mm-hmm.
and they're missing out on super chats. And
Yeah, that
this
makes
is
sense.
these my streams are always Grift and Roadcaster free. So
Well, that's why TCN was set up. That the Catalano network. It's so that everybody that gets banned and fired, in my case, from Joey, we all have a safe place to go and still
okay.
watch Joey.
So do you are you sniping Joey's shows or?
Basically,
I thought about doing that with Tom Myers this morning, but instead I just watched it. And
well, you gotta make it transformative somehow, and they they mess with the video enough to make it transformative. Joey thinks he's going to get the channel taken down, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I saw one time on that Catalan network that they're sniping it, and then he was writing or attempting to write a email to YouTube. He's like, "I am Joey
That was
Z.
yeah,
I
that was
am."
today, I think.
It was a couple days ago. I saw it. I didn't see it today.
Oh,
So maybe he did it again.
yeah, he did it again today.
Oh, jeez. But
But
he was like
The
talking out as he's typing, and it's like Joey. He's like, and these fuckers don't know who they're messing with.
oh yeah, Lou tells him to keep it simple and not put all that other shit in there.
Yeah,
it's like
YouTube,
fill it
YouTube's
out
not
before.
reading it.
It's like what's his name's Stuttering John's complaint to the New York board about Vince the lawyer.
Oh
Um,
god.
it had so much extraneous shit in it that nothing was ever going to happen with it. But at the same time, it's still a complaint, and they investigate every complaint. Like they get a complaint, they don't really look at it. They just send out the people who were named in it.
That's
And
crazy.
of course, Vince took it very seriously because that's what Vince would do. Because he needs to make it a big deal.
Is that where the whole lawsuit came from?
Yeah, yeah. So the lawsuit, well, that's what sort of precipitated it. What actually happened is that John put up a tweet, several tweets saying that Vince had represented him and was representing Carl at the same time against his best interests.
Mm.
And so what happened was, I'm walking through my house. I hope I'm not doxing myself.
That
So
never happened though, did it?
no, so Vince wasn't doing it, so it was obvious defamation. So then Vince waited, and then when John moved to New York, um, Vince filed a defamation suit against him in New York. Because that's the whole thing about this stuff is venue, right? Like
it's very hard. If you're in California and I'm in New York and I want to sue you for defamation, I have to go through the federal courts. And the federal courts are very expensive and their rules are very different. So once John moved into New York, Vince was able to do it all through New York. And since Vince is a lawyer, basically his only expenses were court costs, right?
Yep.
But several of my lawyer friends, because those are the travel circles I travel in, all said that it was bullshit. And Vince sued John for $12 million, which is also bullshit. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Because in order to win a defamation lawsuit, you have to prove you lost money and you have to prove what money you lost. So, I mean, you could get into those numbers, but it was never gonna. It was really just designed to just fuck with John, which is
Yeah. When
exactly
does
what it
when
did.
does time when does Vince have time to do any court hearings anyway?
Yeah.
Well,
He's not representing anybody.
That
most
almost seems
lawyers
like a
never.
frivolous, oh my God, frivolous lawsuit.
eh, Most lawyers don't go. Most lawyers never spend any time in court, and then if you go to the New York State Court lookup and you look up where Vince is either a plaintiff or a defendant, it was all there were, say, 11 cases, and out of the 11, there were a couple of personal injuries. And then there were others where Vince was being sued for not paying rent on buildings that he'd leased. And then there was a claim against a condominium for personal injury against Vince because if I remember correctly, and you can't hold me to it, I believe it was smells from the painting and renovations that they had done that were causing him and his family to get sick. So, and those things, they were still open at the time. I haven't gone back once the John thing settled. So, I don't know if those are still pending, but it's like he had a couple of places like where he rented offices and didn't pay the rent.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I honestly don't know anything about Vince the lawyer. I don't know where he came from or who he is, but I know he's a lawyer named Vince.
I feel like I feel like he's the kind of guy you just don't want to be on his radar, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, he seems like he would fuck with you and have no problem about it.
He would.
He,
So
he
like,
came on with Joey and I back in the day when I was
mhm.
doing the morning show with Joey, and he kept trying to bait Joey in, and I kind of played, I knew what he was doing, and I
Hmm.
was playing along, and then he kind of tried to work me in on it too, and it's like I knew what he was doing, so I wasn't letting him draw me in with that whole thing. But
Well, he did definitely try to draw Joey in with the super tip stuff, right? That they were using his voice and he should be paid for that. And
is that where that all came from?
he had him convinced
Oh, I
that
didn't know that.
he was doing it, but Vince wasn't going to do one person. Vince needed 4 or 5 people so that he could file a class action suit.
Hmm.
And because these suits, these defamation suits, and these other kind of suits, they're very expensive to prosecute. So unless you've got a good case and enough plaintiffs, it's not going to work because you're going to get because the end of the suits usually the way they work are some money goes to the plaintiffs, but most of the money goes to the attorneys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got to be a payoff for them. They're not going to do that shit for free.
So I want to address the Aussie guy in the chat. He says, Kahuna, do you have your Catalano TV PDF shirt on the way? No, but I'll tell you where you can get a good shirt is American Cupcake put a post in here earlier that said, get your flip flopper t-shirts, everyone.
I'm
If you
heading
go
back
to
to see if I can find that.
AmericanCupcakestore.com, the shirt pops up. There's 3 or 4 different ones, but there's one really good one.
Well,
Very
if
first one. That'd be the one
he's
I'm going to get if I get
if
one.
he's if he's better than Opie, I will order it and hopefully have it in time for Hackamania.
Oh, are
Wait,
you
So,
going?
oh yeah,
Oh,
my second,
sweet. Yeah, I'm
my
going.
sec, my second one. I'm gonna do Quad, and I and Dave Sarah are gonna do a live podcast from the VIP party.
oh,
So
nice.
that should be fun.
Yeah.
Um, and I got a couple of questions here. Let's do I'm gonna do Frank's first, and then I'll go back to Dan from Nice Podcast Stupid. And Frank, Mule, do you think you'll be in the next do you think you'll be in the next Franklin Scheckler? People think he's gone, but I think he's extra mad now. Um, and Leo, yeah, Leo, you told us that Scheckler has assured Leo that the Institute's work will continue. Um, I don't think I will be in there only because there really isn't much about me. And I'm a pretty innocent boy. And but there's not a lot of videos of me touching inappropriately either women, children, or farm animals. So
What?
if I get mentioned, I get mentioned only as Ray's friend. Um,
Oh, that's
so
you're
yeah.
guilty then. That's enough.
God, have I
Yeah,
missed
well, you know
something?
what? Ray's got enough people shitting on him. He doesn't need me to do it. And Ray's been Ray's always been a good guy to me, you know. So I I I can't see shitting on him. But there's another one in here. Dan from Nice Podcast asks if I was in on the Maisie MKE stuff of the weekend. And I think really just he's asking, like, do I know about it and did I see it? And I did not see a lot of it, but I did see a 20-minute clip. You guys know what's going on there?
Yeah, we covered that on BYB just a little bit ago.
Hmm. So were you both on BYB or just
Yeah,
Yeah, both of
oh,
us were on
okay.
that first
I know
time
you
we
were
ever
on the
met.
yeah.
I
Now
know
we're
you were
now
on
we're
the other
co-hosts
night.
in 2 shows in a row.
Yeah.
Wow. So
I've only got a few minutes left on here though because I'm so freaking tired and it's so late
yeah,
here.
me too.
Yeah.
I need to get to bed because I got up early. Yeah, Dan from Nice Podcast. Hey Shmuel, you where you at? Where are you at with Maisie and Mommy? Oh, um, I was thinking Maisie and MKE. I don't have a lot to say about Mommy. Again, Mommy's
All
one of those. Mommy's
all three of
always.
them were kind of all in that same. Yeah, you got to go watch BYB and
Oh well.
watch that part where he covers that video. It's pretty good.
Uh,
Yeah, Mommy and Maisie
Mommy
were
is.
fighting.
Oh
Yep.
really?
Hmm.
Yep.
On BYB or
No, no, on
No,
on
on the
Povo
video.
the
Povo?
Clown
Oh,
Town. Yeah.
I didn't hear that part. I heard Maisie talking, and I kind of felt bad that I felt bad for MKE because I've had friends like that. Like they meet this girl, and it's like this is the be all and the end all, and they're going to spend the rest of their life with the girl. Unfortunately, the girl doesn't agree, and they don't know how to get past it. You know, and he's saying he's getting past it, and I think my line was, sitting in a room for 8 hours a day, streaming and talking about it doesn't seem to me to be like you're getting past it. And I apologize if I'm not so great with the chat tonight. I'm on a iPhone Pro Max 15, and the screen's pretty big, but I can't really see too much stuff. Doom. Joey C needs to pay Spider Allen what he's worth. It's funny you say that, Doom. A couple of months ago, I wanted Dave and I to bring Spider on and help get him set up on his own channel and monetized and stuff. Um, but
Kahuna's shaking his head no.
no,
No, I tried to do the same thing. Joey
he's
is
not going
so controlling over him. It's crazy.
to. Well, we don't know everything, but look, Spider Joey may have taken Spider under his wing And Spider's life might be bearable and okay today, and it might not have been at that time.
Yeah, I can't say what his past was, but he seems to be doing just fine now. I mean, he's a little he's 34, I think he said,
Hmm.
and he doesn't act 34, but
Right.
I
You
don't
do
know.
think that, right? When I met him, I thought he was going to be in his very early 20s. And then you meet him
Mhm.
and you realize he's in his 30s, and you're like,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
time to
he's
move on.
he's so tiny, man.
Where
Right.
did you meet Spider Shmuel?
He was with Kahuna at DabbleCon too.
Okay.
And but I also, it's like, you know, I'm reticent to say it, but he also doesn't seem like he's the smartest guy on the planet. So,
No,
No, you don't say.
so
no, he
maybe,
he can read better than Joey, I think.
I mean, that
But
really doesn't say much, but it's the
no,
comprehension of the reading is
yeah.
the important part. So,
Hmm.
it's like you can read, so you can get yourself to the bathroom and the train station, and know to wipe your ass from front to back, but it doesn't mean you're going to understand anything too terribly more complicated or understand how life works. And
Well, as long as you got those basic things under control, I think you're fine.
Yeah, and you know how to hit live stream with Joey C. Who you're good. Fuck it.
Beg for money.
and
Hey,
Gina Bobina's spider is being trafficked. um Doom, spider is a slave. Gina Bobina, if his fingernails are proof.
God
um
damn, did you see those nails the other day?
No, it
Oh,
kind of grossed me out, so I try not to look. It's like feet. I don't like feet either.
wait. Does he have big giant claws or something?
if he was a chick, he would have nice freaking nails.
Ew. Oh, I can't stand nails on dudes.
And they were so long.
For a long time, I dealt with
Mm-mm.
Chinese takeout places, the restaurant owners, and they all had their pinky nail was always really big,
For doing coke.
and
That's what I would
it
think.
was like the pinky nail was big, and it was all like and manicured and shit, and it used to just fucking creep me out. Just yeah, it was gross. So in any event, this was just a pop up for me to uh come on and be able to hide my face here. Um, Frank is funny. Frank brings this up every tweet. Frank, I agree with you not piling Ray. That's good of you. I disagree with you on your condemnation of the Columbia protesters and your anti-free speech stance. And no, man, I am like the biggest free speech guy in the world. I just, in this particular case, um, if you're here and you're here on a student visa, you got some responsibility beyond that, and so um, you kind
Get
of
the
need to earn
fuck
it.
out.
And I'm also, I'm a big fan of going after what happened in after October 7th in Israel, and also I it's hard for me to get aligned with um, Hamas, considering the way they treat their own people. So I've been there, and I can just tell you that two different worlds, man, two different worlds. So um,
So you think we should build like a bunch of hotels in Palestine or in the what's that? Where they want to build it? Where did Trump want to build them?
Gaza?
Gaza, the Strip. We're gonna make it into the
My wife was telling me about that.
Riviera of the Middle East. Let's go.
it would look, it's possible, it would be possible, but the reason why it's not possible is because Hamas runs everything there, and it's a corrupt terrorist organization. And if you did build hotels and made it a resort, they'd lose their power. And no junta, for lack of a better word, is going to give up that power freely.
Yeah,
Them
that's why we just
hotels would all end up getting bombed.
wipe them all
Uh,
out first. It'll be fine.
well, they all go after each other, and then the part of the story that never gets mentioned is um, the rest of the Arab world does not like Palestinians. So that's part of it. Like this could have been a solution a long time ago if the other Arabs would have gotten together and worked on. Lebanon would have had to give up peace, Jordan would have had to give up the peace. Um, Saudi Arabia could have stepped in, and none of those things happened. So
I'm not going to pretend like I even know what I'm talking about. So
No, I quit watching TV about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't
yeah,
stay up on anything anymore.
and Sam Bibley is saying it's yeah. I don't support Hamas as an organization. Um, I think they would need a better form of government. And uh, Frank, that's not true. Our politicians don't stand. Um, most our politicians don't. Most of the world stands with Palestine. I don't know that most of the world stands with Palestine, but I do know that the Arabs haven't. And to them, it's a problem. And their continued fight with Israel, I think, benefits them. So, it's like North Korea is a thorn in the side of the world, and that's why China supports them. Like North Korea couldn't exist without the support of the Chinese government, and that's why they're there because they're a thorn in the side of the West. So, but
wait, you got to read Doom's.
Yeah, he just caught me up on the whole thing going on over there. I'm up to speed now.
yeah. 2,000 years of war. A young lady boy is being held captive by Joey C.
We got to figure that part out first before we figure
Yeah,
out Palestine Israel shit.
right.
Yeah, we got a free spider.
If we can free Spider, we can free anyone.
Do you think Joey's doing butt stuff with him?
Mm, I don't think Joey can get it up, so no. I mean, whether he
Oh,
could at one
Ah,
time.
God, that's an awful
thank
fucking
God.
thought.
Thank God. Jeez. I did not want to end up having to go to bed with that image.
Think
Yeah.
of Joey
Oh,
naked.
And Joey's got his own problems.
originally, when we went to DabbleCon 2, I was supposed to fly down to Tampa, with same as Spider did, and ride with them to Rochester from Tampa.
Oh my God, dude.
But
What?
No
excuse me.
fucking way.
Do you hate yourself that much?
No fucking way. I got
And
on a plane and I went straight to Rochester.
what do you call it? But it's the Kahuna. The best part of that story to me was Kahuna's on the way to the airport, and Joey was trying to throw him out of the car before he
That
got
was
to
on
the
the way
airport.
home. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I begged him to let me out of that fucking car. God,
That's
we
right.
got into a screaming match in there. He screamed
but
for fucking 10 minutes, wouldn't let me get a word in. Finally, I
So
just screamed over the top of him.
why did he fire you now?
Oh, we had a fucking. Oh, now?
Yeah. You just said you were
Because,
fired recently, right?
well, I've been fired twice.
Okay.
Probably not even the last time. I don't know. But first time was over a stupid work that went bad. That's why I had um, TCN play that video, that old video of the morning show that you were talking about.
Hmm.
That was, if you go back and watch that episode, that was the bean story that is so famous with Joey, Go and watch it on TCN's channel, because in the chat, I point out every clue that was in that show, that whole fucking story was fake.
So he fired you for spilling the beans?
No, no, that story went on for probably a little more than a week. And
he also got you involved in something you didn't want to be involved in, right?
uh Not really. I mean, I was a willing participant, but he wouldn't show up for, we would discuss how we were going to progress things, and he wouldn't show up to the show. So I'd be left doing shit by myself, winging it, and I
Mhm.
suck at doing that type of shit. So I made up the thing that he still owed me the $200 bail money from getting arrested. Me bailing him out of jail after he got the beans thrown at him.
Who did you give
Right?
that $2,000 to?
What?
You $200. Who did you give the $200 to?
It was made up. There was no
Oh,
$200.
so you didn't, right? Okay. So then the story was that he owed you the money back. Was that the?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't. He got pissed at me because I brought that up because it hit too close to home.
Uh,
You know that he didn't pay me back.
So
That's
he got
kind of
mad at a fake thing, basically.
right. Right.
God.
sounds
Yeah.
like
And
Joey.
then we had a whole blowout, whole dust up before DabbleCon, and then we actually kind of apologized to one another and got past it. And then we met up out there, and then on the way to the airport going home, I told him that I was going to take 2 weeks off because I was getting so far behind in work. I had to get caught up. And he wanted me to go on the air and take full blame for the story.
I got you.
And I said, well, fuck, I'll do it in a week or two. I said, I got commitments. I got to honor that, business comes first. And he was just throwing me under the bus every day. It was just crazy. Finally, I just said, fuck it. I went on there one morning, and I go on. He pulls me up, and then he screams at me for 3 minutes. I admit to the whole story, and then he kicks me off. I couldn't say a word.
Yeah, that's part of what happens, man. It's part of what happens. I wanted to answer Sam Bibley, who said, we're back here. Are you guys still going to be friends with me if I like Joey C still? And my view my personal view, I don't know about you other guys, my personal view on this is I don't really care who you're friends with, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's your money. Do what you want, and be friends with who you want. I'd love to see Joey C succeed. I just think that he fucking steps on his own dick all the time. And
Constantly.
the minute he gets anything going that's going to work, he stops doing it, you know?
Yeah. He blows
But
himself up constantly, over and
I
over
am
again.
I am waiting for that million dollar idea he and Chad had to come to fruition.
So is Chad.
Hmm.
No,
They should
the
they
biggest
should do a
threat
show together.
the
The two of
biggest
them.
threat to Catalano TV is Joey C himself.
Yeah, I could see him blowing it up. The thing with Joey too is it appears, I'm not going to say that this is fact, but it would appear to me that Joey would blow it up out of pride rather than suck it up a little bit. And something's going to happen, and that's when he's going to fuck it all up.
He'll
But
blow it up just so he doesn't have to get out of bed.
well,
I don't
that might not be a bad thing. Man, I could see doing that.
the only thing that he's consistent at is sounding awful when he goes live. Like, why can't he figure out a fucking microphone?
Because they're all free.
Yeah, but you can
All
still
the
make it
microphones.
work.
I think the one he has now, he actually bought, and he actually doesn't sound that bad now. But he's got so many other technical issues. He's got a horseshit computer, a
Yeah.
computer that's probably full of porn and who knows what.
Yeah. And
It's
he doesn't work on anything, right?
no,
Like you
no.
can have a cheap mic and a cheap computer, but
Hmm.
you work on that and get that to work on your stream, and that should be the priority if this is what you're doing. But he doesn't. I'm sure the minute it's off the stream, like you said, it's Pornhub, it's pop-ups, it's ransomware, it's
Casino games.
casino games. Yeah.
Oh, dude, he's probably, yeah, he's probably been like, his computer's probably just full of like scamware and fucking. I'm sure he's getting calls all day trying to get him bank accounts from India and shit. Like he seems like that type of guy.
Yep,
You know, and the other thing
exactly.
too is, I mean, I don't know that it'll continue under Trump, but these guys that are on like Social Security disability and shit like that, they get a million offers every day for like free money. And it's not really free, but you do a lot of chasing of shit. And
Yeah.
and so I'm sure there's a bunch of that there too.
Oh, I'm sure he's scamming the system every way he possibly can.
Hmm.
If there's Social Security he's entitled to, he's getting it, and probably some other people's. Maybe that's
I,
where he's getting Spider's SSI or something.
look, you never know how these things go, but it's all very interesting. Anyway, kids, I'm really glad you came in, but I have to hit the sack.
Yes,
But
sir.
wait, Frank, have you
Me
heard
too.
from MKE Big W? We're best friends and everything, but I don't ever want to see in MK's chat after the stunt you pulled on Saturday. Does anybody know what that is?
Oh yeah, that Big W was on the Clown Town show
Mm-hmm.
with Mazzy. So I'm sure that's in reference to that.
Mazzy, my opinion of Mazzy sounded very normal to me with a few exceptions. And one of the exceptions is that this guy, MKE, is totally hung up on you. So you're calling him to just see how he's doing. You may think of that as I'm just calling him to see how he's doing, but he's going to think that that's because you want a connection. And
I mean, I thought she said she hasn't called him in over a year. I think it's in his head.
no, she
Like,
said she called him.
uh, but yeah, but then she doesn't care about this dude. Obviously, she's telling us about some granny panties she found on the floor. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't give a fuck about this dude.
Yeah. So
Size 16s.
Yeah, some big
I always
ones.
laugh about this one. Sam Bibley. Joey said he's taking a week off to go on vacation and mourn his enemies. I think something's about to go down. Check on your missing friends. What is Joey going on vacation from?
How does he afford a vacation? The fuck?
Every day is a fucking vacation for Joey.
No, it is, right? Like he doesn't have like a regular schedule or a life.
He can't even get up to do a goddamn morning show.
Right. Leo Gunn is talking about what I said, was just she'd called him after he passed out. Oh, come back, Leo, come back. Uh she said she called him after he passed out live on air just to make sure he was okay. And so him saying that she was in the
Uh,
chat and watching, um, that's not untrue. And when you get a desperate guy who's like in love and he thinks it's all gonna happen and they're gonna get back together again, that shit just leads him on. And look, she didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying she did anything wrong. I'm just saying that you don't get to call him to ask him if he's okay and then think in his head that he's not going to think that has more meaning.
ladies,
Good
man,
point.
they crazy. They do some crazy shit to you. Fuck you up in the
I,
head.
they do. I look, man, I know a guy
Stay away.
who's now been married for like 25 years. His kids grew up, went to college, did all sorts of shit like that. And every time I see him, all he talks about is his high school girlfriend and how in love he was with her and everything else. Like his wife of 25 years was a piece of shit. It's insane. It is insane. All right.
That,
Anybody got any?
that requires some therapy.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody any quick questions? This kid's
Nah,
got to
man.
go to bed.
I'm
What
good.
did
Thanks
you?
for having me again,
What
bro.
was the BYB? But what was the BYB topics tonight?
Basically, just that. Well, we did some Maisie. What else was there, Kahuna?
Little Stuttering John,
Stuttering John. Some
uh,
Chad coverage.
Chad,
So, like I said, my news
was
to you
Volk.
guys was that a Tampa comedian told Dan, the owner of the Laugh Farm, Funny Farm,
Funny
and
Farm,
tried to
yes.
get John's show canceled, and it didn't work. And the Funny Farm was very happy with John and would like to have him back. So,
And
Really?
that is breaking news, honestly.
um,
Can't even wrap my
and
head around that.
We'll spread it around. I'll spread that around.
yeah, no, that's it was a good thing, but it's just the fact that that guy goes around complaining, everybody's trying to get him canceled, and he lost his Patreon and all that bullshit, you know, and
And
you're doing the same thing. So,
He
yeah,
um,
seems like one of the douchiest dudes when it comes to that stuff. Striking channels and fucking with people's lives.
that is pretty fucking dirty. Just try like he goes out of his way to do that and then complain about it constantly happening to him. That's crazy. Like
Yeah,
what are
but
you
there's
doing,
no
bro?
proof.
There's no proof that any. Yeah, yeah.
That whole swatting thing, I don't think there's any proof of that, is there?
That's 100% garbage made up. Because first
Yeah.
of
oh yeah,
all, if you get swatted, and if you watch the video, he says he comes back in, turns his laptop off because he tells the cops, "Oh, just hold on a second, I'll be right back." If you're being swatted and there's threats of guns, the cops don't let you go back into your house.
right,
Like
because
that
they
just
don't want you
doesn't
coming
happen.
back out with a gun,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
yeah.
oh,
Officer safety 101.
happens all the time, and they know me, and then he poo poos it later on, right? Like, um, it's 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 a big deal in that moment, and then a day later, it's like you don't even remember it. You don't even really talk about it. If you got swatted and you had five cops show up at your door like that, that's not something you're soon going to forget.
No, and why wouldn't you live stream it? You're a fucking live streamer. You're streaming. Why would you turn it off and then just pretend like it didn't? Because it's made
Yeah,
up. And he almost makes up things that he doesn't think people can check on. Almost like where it's like the '90s.
right.
Oh, that
But
some. I thought somebody checked that out and
Yeah, they did. I saw.
called
they
the
Well,
police
did. That's the
department.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was no calls to his house at
yeah.
that day. No police.
Tampa had Tampa had nothing on it, and
Yeah,
and especially when you're a guy that's got like you've been arrested over 36 times, you got the stolen credit card thing. Um, I don't know. Just all the things you accuse other people of are all the things that you've done. But I will say that the greatest cell phone of last week was the phone call from the collection agency.
that was
I
hilarious.
I
That
must
was
say that
hilarious.
I must say that I enjoy that. So
So BYB had Chad's uh, whole arrest record. Did you see that at all?
I've seen it
Yeah,
before.
Oh, I had never seen that before. Holy Christ, that was long.
there's actually a couple of months ago, me, Honk, and Quad did a show on BYB just about that. So you can go back and look. I don't know when it was, probably like 2 or 3 months ago. That's all we did was just talk about
Uh,
Chad's arrest record.
God, I can't
Frank
believe how long that is.
Frank says here that Chad said all charges were a misunderstanding and or traffic violations.
Yes.
I'll give you 4 or 5, but 36, no. And he did things like he broke into that chick's house.
36?
he
I
was
bet you that isn't too far from the truth.
he was
No,
trying to encourage this other chick to kill herself. Um, he's not a good person. I mean, that's basically what it is. And he did get tossed out of Hollywood over the Patton Oswalt stuff, claiming that Patton murdered his wife. And you know,
He
uh,
didn't start that, did he?
no, he said it to the wrong people that were friends with Patton.
Oh,
right. And he kept persisting in it, like
Chad
that's
also fucked himself over in Hollywood with Bert Kreischer because he was trolling Bert with a burner account on X, but then forgot to log out of it and was answering himself. Yeah, he's not smart either.
that's an old stuttering John move, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. These guys, because that's the other thing too is no matter how smart you are, um, you're always going to do that. That's like one time I had a client who said something um about a state organization and why he was having his problems. and I wrote my assistant back saying that I don't believe it for a minute, and I actually sent it to the guy instead of her. Um, and I think I'm a pretty smart guy.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I've done it.
but even I fucked up. And
I've sent text messages to people that were not for them. Luckily,
Yeah.
it's never been anything too bad, but I'm like, oh
right,
shit, that's the wrong person.
my text messages that were bad were when I was drinking. I'd be like, you know, uh, a few Jamesons and Xanaxes in, and I'd be like, to like a friend's girlfriend telling her how hot she was,
Oh no.
and yeah, and implying because like, oh yeah, she was hitting on me, earlier that night, not
That's
realizing that that wasn't happening, that it was all going on in my mind. So you
so.
know,
It's a good thing you don't drink anymore.
uh yeah, we're ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, calling them, um I did some pretty goddamn stupid shit. So, and the worst part was I didn't remember it, and then I would wake up and I would look at my phone in the morning and just, I would see like, oh my God, I texted this one, I texted that one. And like, and it was wild because I never drink and drove. I always put my car, I always pretty much lived in urban areas. So it wasn't like a huge deal, but I always put my keys away. So I wouldn't get them out when I was drinking. And I used to do that with my phone, but apparently I remembered where I put the phone.
Where's that
And
goddamn phone?
I did that. I did one time. I had an order from Amazon for it was like a $1,500 order of all sorts of like fishing gear. That
From when you were drunk?
yeah, yeah. We were gonna go fishing over the weekend, and I needed like one thing, and I managed to buy like a fishing pole and rods, and like it was over $1,500, and I didn't remember ordering it. Like I
Well, at
did
least you
not
didn't waste
remember
it
it.
on something
Yeah. Hey,
stupid.
Aussie guy, maybe there's hope for Gino. Shmuel 10 years ago sounds like Gino. Yeah, I hope so too. And Gino would be getting, I think maybe I got sober younger than Gino, but I think Gino's about the age that I got sober at. Um, but Gino's path to destruction has been a lot longer than mine, you know. Mine was mostly self-harm and with not physical self-harm, but fucking up my own life, not everybody else's. And but yeah. And look, I only quit. The only reason why I quit drinking and doing that stuff more was because that shit was getting worse and worse. I was also running my business into the ground. And I would come in and then just sleep at my desk all day.
Oof.
And the one thing when you're an addict or an alcoholic is you don't think anybody recognizes it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you get sober and you realize, oh shit, they knew it all along.
Yeah. They
Uh,
tell you like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm sober. Like, oh, I can tell. Trust me, I know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. One of my favorites was going to so I went through sort of a traditional 12-step program, even though I'm an atheist, and I got to go through the atheist thing, but I do the amends, and I go to my ex-wife to make amends, and that's when I found out a lot of the shit that I did while I was blacked out, because if you'd ask me, I'd always tell you I never wanted kids, never wanted kids. And my ex-wife would tell me, you'd come to bed at night, you would just lie there and tell me how much you loved me and how much you wanted to have a baby and a family and all this. I didn't remember any of it. And I believe it. I believe I said it, but I didn't. I to this day I don't ever remember having said it, you know. But sometimes they do come back and then you just realize how embarrassing you are.
Oh yeah. I get the douche chills thinking about some of the shit that I've done.
Right. And
Yeah.
then one night I was at a bodega. I bought some beer at a bodega in Hoboken and I fell down the steps and the guy wouldn't replace my beer. And I acted out and the tops had fallen off the beers and stuff, broken. So I was just taking all the bottles and pouring them all over his store. And he was going to call the police. And in my mind, the police were going to come and go, yes, Mr. Buckman, you're 100% right. And luckily I left.
Give this man his beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and a medal, because your steps are dangerous. But
Uh, it's crazy what
and
your drunk mind will tell you.
you get convinced of crazy things. But that's the stuttering John thing, and that's what my buddy who has gone back out and is uh, back to being an alcoholic was saying in the bar before. Back in December, I guess he was telling me that John was telling the people in the bar that he was sober. He was going to get sober for 90 days just to prove on January 1st, just to prove that he could be sober, that he wasn't an alcoholic. And during that time, he was going to like try to reconnect with his kids and some other stuff. And I fully believed it, but it never happened. So, um, but like he would say that would be John. Like John would one day be like, I was on Howard Stern, I was a writer, I'm a celebrity, everybody loves me. And, the next day he'd be, um, I can't believe I'm here drinking and,
I'm a loser.
nobody loves,
Podcasting to you idiots.
Yeah.
yeah, nobody loves me and whatnot. And he also did like to Jason Bentley, though, he told Jason in Atlantic City on the first AC trip that he knew what he was doing, that he knew all of this trolling and coming after his kids and stuff. Um, he couldn't stop because it would mean he would lose too much money.
I mean, I don't doubt that. Honestly, that sounds right.
So, but he was loaded. He was loaded at the time. I mean, I was, there in AC. Um, I have never seen a man drink so much in such a short period of time.
And
Damn.
he's a
I
little dude too.
He is a little dude, but he just he, the
Beers,
dude can
right? Just
hack down the beer.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and there was also like nose candy flying around too.
Yeah.
So probably what was happening was, he would be drinking and it would getting them to the point where he was going to pass out, and then he got a little instant energy that
Nice.
persisted.
It's
And
making me feel sick thinking about drinking tons of beers like John.
yeah,
Ugh.
and one of the funny things there was he got pissed off at Stevie Lou because Stevie Lou wouldn't share with him, and Stevie said he knew where John could get it, but he wasn't giving up he wasn't giving up. Like Stevie Lou wasn't giving him anything. And I'd heard the story, and then on the podcast, I don't know, a week or two later, John was like, he was saying he was pissed off at Stevie Lou, and he's like, yeah, he wouldn't share anything with me.
I could just picture John being the cat you don't want to feed.
Ugh.
He'll
Right.
just keep coming
Keep
back.
coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. All right,
Pretty soon
guys.
your 8 ball's gone.
Good night.
All right,
Take
Shmoo.
care. See you later. Bye.
Cool.
Later.
Later, bro.